But did you know this wall clock is complete math lesson. It's a full of a math lesson. And with the help of this wall clock, we are going to learn the circle and its parts. Before moving into the parts, let's discuss about the circle. What's the definition of the circle? The simple definition which we learned in our earlier grades is a circle is a round figure. It's a well-rounded figure. Isn't it? Now let's dive deep into the definition. So what's the circle? Circle is a round-shaped figure where the points on the boundaries are having equidistance from the center. Wait, the points on the boundary. Let's say the points on the boundary is given over on the clock are 12, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Points on this boundary are equidistant from the center. We know what's the center over here, right? That means the distance from the 1 to the center is equal and the distance from the 2 to the center is same. The distance from the 3 to the center again it's means the circle is a well-rounded figure where the points on the boundary are the equidistant from the center. That means the distance from the center to the other points are having the equal distance. This is called the circle. And now let's move to the parts of the circle. So the first part we are having here is the center. And we observe the clock here. This tiny part is called the center. The tiny part over here is called the center. If I place center on this diagram, so this is called the center. Right? This is called the center. The first part we have over here is center. Right? And the next part we are having is the radius. So what's the next we have? Radius. So what's the radius? Let's observe here. We know what's the center, right? The tiny part. Yes. Yes. So this tiny part, the clock is called the center. And now let's move to the radius. So from the same center, okay. Okay. Let's remove all this. Let me take R and yes. If I take the hour and from the center, okay, which is pointing towards 3, okay, which is pointing towards 3. The hour and from the center that is pointing towards 3, this line is called the radius. So what do we call? Radius. So let me draw the radius. The line which is drawn from the center to the other part of the circle is called radius. This line is called the radius. And the next part we have over here is diameter. And the third part we have is the diameter. So what's the diameter? We know this line which is drawn from the center to the other part or which is touching to the boundary of the circle is called radius. Now let's observe here, students. If I take the minute hand, okay, minute hand, and placing this minute hand, okay, then placing the minute hand like this, which is pointing towards 9 from the center, which is pointing towards 9 from the center, and other line which is pointing from the center towards 3. So this complete line is called the diameter. So what do we call? The complete line is called the diameter. Which means the line, see, which is drawn from the center to the other part. So this is called the radius. But what is the diameter? The line which passes from the center, touching through the, which passes from the center, touching the other two endpoints of the circle is called the diameter. So this complete line is called diameter. I hope it's clear, children. There is no confusion between radius and diameter, right? So radius is this part, but the diameter is the whole part. Clear? Now we are having the other thing that you see. Let me write here. Diameter is denoted with the D. Okay, diameter is denoted with the D and radius is denoted with the R. Okay. For suppose if our radius if the radius is given as some, let's say some 2 centimeters. If the radius is given as 2 centimeters and the diameter, what will be the diameter? Now you can see here, this part is called the radius, which is given as 2 centimeters, right? And the other part, this part from center to the other part is called the radius. So this is also, let's say, the radius is of 2 centimeters, right? and the total part, the total from let's say the point A and point B. The total line from A to B is called the diameter, right? And what would be the total distance of the diameter? It's nothing but we should add it. 2 plus 2 which gives us 4. That means the 4 complete, the length of AB is of 4 centimeters. Is of 4 centimeters. Clear, children? That means it's nothing but radius is half of the diameter. Radius is half of the diameter. And diameter is 2 times radius. So that's why we have a formula D equals to 2R and R equals to D upon 2. These are the things which we will be learning in the further sessions. Right? Now in this session, let's learn about the parts of the circle. And next part we have, now that we complete the radius, center, diameter, and now we have, yes, the next part we have, there is chord. What's that? Chord. C-H-O-R-D. Chord. And what's the chord? Let me show you here, children. If I take two lines, if I take two hands, the R hand and the minute hand, let's forget about the seconds hand here. If I take two hands over here, okay, which are passing from the center and they are pointing towards the 11 and 4, right? This is called the chord. Yes, obviously this is also called the diameter, but there is a small difference between the diameter and the chord. Let me draw the diameter here on the board. Sorry, let me draw the chord on the board. See, diameter means the line which is passing from the center and it touches the two boundaries, right? Other sides of the boundaries of the circle. But chord is something, see, if I take the points, let's say some point C, the line which is drawn from the point C to, let's say, some point D. The line which is drawn from the C and D. The line which touches from the two parts of the circle, which means that touches the boundaries of the circle, is called the chord. And what's the difference between the diameter and the chord? Diameter means it passes through the center. Chord means it just touches the 2 points of the circle. And can diameter be a chord? Yes, diameter is the longest chord. Every diameter can be a chord, and here the diameter can be called as the longest chord. But each chord cannot be a diameter, because diameter means that passes from the center. Chord means it only touches the two endpoints of the circle. It need not to pass from the center. Okay, children, this region, this line passing from the C and touching the D is called the chord. Okay, so we completed 4 parts of the circle. And the next part we have here is, let me write here, arc. So what is an arc? Arc means it's simple. If I show you from here to here, okay, from point 12 to 2, this area is called as an arc. Arc can be drawn as simple like this. This is a curved shape, right? The curved shape from 12 to 2 is called as an arc. From this 12 to 2 is called as an arc. Or from 12 to 1 is called as an arc. Or from 1 to 3 is called as an arc. Arc means nothing but a curved shape, right? So this part is called as an arc. If I show you the same on the board, we have this, let's say, so as we just assume this point as C, okay? Let me write here some point as E. Okay, so this region, this region, the E and C, the curved shape that forms in between the E and C is called as an arc. It's very simple, right? Yes, so in this video, we learned about the 5 parts of the circle. In the upcoming session, we are going to learn remaining parts of the circle.